about set to go here right now, getting ready to fire things up. And again, looking at the drivers ready to fire. It is time to get things underway, folks. Joining me here in the booth to give me the call to fire the engines from the IU Simon Comprehensive Cancer Center, Dr. Kelvin Lee.
Thank you. On behalf of the tremendous team at the IU Simon Comprehensive Cancer Center, our wonderful patients and their families, drivers, start your engines.
That is it. I like it. With passion. Thank you, Dr. Lee. There's the call to fire the engines, and indeed, they have done so. Engines coming to life on pit lane. It is time to go racing. 17 drivers, many of them their first time going racing here on the oval. We'll take 75 laps around this very challenging track. You'll see the difference of this particular facility, unlike what you'll see with the midget cars and the Silver Crowns. The apex way up top. They'll run the high side all the way around this racetrack, but to be good, but to be able to get it done, to be able to pass lap traffic, your car still has to work on the bottom. That's going to be one of the biggest challenges you'll see for the drivers in this particular category. They have to be able to handle the bottom part of the racetrack, set the pick, set up that pass of a lap car. Crucial, as you know, the spotters on the very top of the tower, the eyes of all the drivers here right now. So indeed, spotters and drivers need to be absolutely in touch, in communication, to be able to get it all said and done. We're ready to go racing here. It's been an interesting day. We wondered if we were going to go there or not. Would we get dry? Would we be racing late? We weren't even quite sure whether we were going to be racing late into the evening. I like the time right now, 8:39 local. We will say hello to those of you tuning in on the Road to Indy TV app or on the Road to Indy TV YouTube channel. Thrilled to be able to bring you live coverage of the event here today, as we always do on Road to Indy TV. Time to go racing, folks. Pace car is headed down, and we are about to get things underway. Michael D'Orlando on the inside, Bajoy Garg on the outside. First four rows, tuck it up nicely. Row 5, thinking about it as well with Billy Fraser and Nikki Hayes. We're out at turn number 4. It is time to go racing in the Freedom 75. Green, green, green. They race it down into turn number 1. Things pretty clean so far. D'Orlando, call it 4 or 5 car lengths. They work their way down the back straightaway. One of the D-Force cars not getting a good run. He'll go to the bottom. Pinch to the bottom a little bit. Simon Sykes is there as well. Everybody else trying to dial things in. Green racetrack, of course, after what we saw with the weather, with the rain. So a different facility for the drivers than what they had earlier today. Sykes into the bottom of the track. Here's a good battle here between D'Orlando and Bajoy Garg. Running in that second spot, D'Orlando nicely down the back chute as he now tucks his way to the high side of turn 3 and 4. Great crowd on hand at Indianapolis Raceway Park here this evening. D'Orlando's lead pretty solid here early on. Couple of side-by-side battles further back in 4th and 5th. 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th going side-by-side. That is Jace Denmark and Thomas DeVoe, Jagger Jones and Simon Sykes. These guys are side-by-side deeper in the field. D'Orlando trying to see if he can't run out front. Look at this side-by-side battle. Yeah, this is Jace Denmark alongside Thomas DeVoe. Here comes Jagger Jones to the top side as well to try to make it 3 drivers in that battle. Thomas DeVoe, though, running the bottom. When you do that, it pinches the car. He's going to come back across the top. Here goes Jagger Jones to the bottom. Jones to the inside of the racetrack. That's going to give Denmark a chance to stretch away a little bit here in P4 as Jagger Jones now goes to the bottom. Side by side, the two Tatis USF 22s, the new Halo, the new tub of the chassis, and look at that pass getting done. He gets clear, slide job coming out through, goes back to the top of the racetrack to hold the position, move Jagger Jones up into 5th. So it's Michael D'Orlando, the leader right now. Bajoy Garg runs 2nd, Miles Rowe 3rd. Jace Denmark and Jagger Jones rounding out your top 5. 6th is Thomas DeVoe, 7th Simon Sykes, 8th Spike Polbecker, 9th Billy Fraser, and 10th is Dylan Christie. Christian Weir runs in 11th. Nicky Hayes in 12th. Jackson Lee 13th. Jorge Garcia's 14th. Trey Burke, Danny Dzelski, and Jacob Douglas rounding out the 17 drivers. I'll tell you though, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, you can't see it on the screen, but they are battling it out nose to tail, side by side as well. So a good fight further back in the pack. Here's Spike Kohlbecker looking at the bottom of Simon Sykes. That is the fight for 7th. Kohlbecker not able to get a good run. Here comes Billy Fraser. Fraser behind him in that Giltrap Corpay exclusive Autosport machine. Fraser's keeping to the top side, trying to get that clean air rolling up over top of the front wing. Not a ton of aerodynamic downforce on these cars, but enough to affect it, of course, here on the oval when you're really relying on balance. Michael D'Orlando out cleanly. We'll put 9 laps in the books this time by. D'Orlando looking to go back-to-back. Winner last year, and to be honest, for Michael D'Orlando, this is exactly what he needs right now. He's had a strong start to the season, actually a better start to the season than he had last year. But for D'Orlando, hasn't had that win. As the runner-up last year, I think he expected he was going to be able to dive in for a race win early. He's been consistent, and that's why coming into the race, he was only 2 points behind Jagger Jones. Actually make it 1 point with the pole position bonus. This is a great fight right now for 7th. This is Simon Sykes in the Legacy Autosport machine on top of the number 19. The bottom, Spike Kohlbecker in the Turn 3 Motorsport with Ignite Autosport machine, trying the bottom side. And right behind them, kind of watching it all happen, is Billy Fraser. I'm not sure he really knows what he wants to do here yet. Some pretty aggressive side-by-side racing. And actually behind them is coming up with Fraser and Christie. There they are there, yeah. There's Billy Fraser in the 92 and Dylan Christie in the 11. They're taking advantage of this side-by-side racing. Neither of these drivers able to run the full fast lap. Oh, back to the bottom. Kohlbecker, aggressive here. Trying to grab 7th from Simon Sykes. You'll go back to the bottom, keep looking. Get that clean air over the wing. Try to force your competitor in that little slight error. Does he try to roll a little too much corner speed, a little too much on the wheel? Can you get him to bobble just a little bit? Not quite. Sykes, a veteran driver, using the top side. Simon Sykes from Atlanta, Georgia. Here comes Fraser, too. He wants to take advantage of this. Leaders pulling away. Michael D'Orlando, Bajoy Garg have a pretty big gap now on Miles Rowe, who runs P3. They'll single file it back up again. You got to think that the 33 of Kohlbecker wanting to maybe take care of the tires a little bit. You are going to see tire degradation through the 75-lap event. You see a little bit of mid-corner oversteer there for the 92 of Billy Fraser. Solid correction, though, as he got the car to transition through. That is 8th, 9th, and 10th. Spike Kohlbecker, Billy Fraser, and Dylan Christie. D'Orlando leads now by a half a second over Bajoy Garg. Still keying on this scrap right now for 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Let's see if Kohlbecker can turn it up again. Spike Kohlbecker in the Tier Point KHS R Solution True Tile Company Tatus, a Turn 3 Motorsport driver. Turn 3 with Ignite Autosport. Ignite, of course, one of the top karting programs in North America right now. The Margay Ignite program. So many young drivers have worked their way through this Ignite program, a spec series that runs all over the country, based out of St. Louis, but racing series all over the country. They have their Ignite major events at big tracks like Daytona and Charlotte. A couple of races at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as well. There's Michael D'Orlando. Let's keep back on the leader. Flawless run so far for the young New Yorker. D'Orlando looking to get this championship to potentially move up to Indy Pro 2000 next year. A win here in the Freedom 75 would be massive. Thrust him into the point lead heading to our next event in just 2 weeks' time. The iconic Road America facility up next. Here's your next battle. This time for Billy Fraser to potentially put some pressure here on Spike Kohlbecker. Who has taken care of the tires? That's going to be one thing to watch, because when you get to the end of the 75 lapper, drivers who've been running that low line unsuccessfully trying to get an overtake done are going to burn those tires up. Another thing to watch for, of course, will be when does Orlando close up to the tail group? And the group at the tail of the field right now, 5 cars. Nikki Hayes, Jorge Garcia, Trey Burke, Danny Nizelski, and Jacob Douglas. They're all running essentially in a train. In fact, Burke and Garcia are now side by side down the back straightaway. Here comes Billy Fraser, though. Fraser still tried the bottom side now on Kohlbecker. Trey Burke almost done with the pass on Garcia as well. That's the gap between first and second down into turn number 1. Dylan Christie closing up with a D-Force racing that blue and white machine. Christie out of Princeton, New Jersey. Look at, he's got a lot of pace, a lot of entry speed. The battle further back is wild to watch right now, folks. 13th to 17th are going at it like they're racing for the lead, and they've got actually the leader coming back around. Looks like we may have one driver slowing, coming down the back straightaway and coming into pit lane. I think that is going to be Nikki Hayes. Yeah, we got a driver who's pitting in the back part of the racetrack here. So Nikki Hayes into pit lane. There he is, number 5, an issue for Hayes in the Touchstone Helicopters Molecule Sports Machine. Can't see anything visually on the car of Hayes, but electing to come into pit lane. And this is what's going to start dialing things in. We got ourselves a battle for the 7th or 8th spot between Kohlbecker and Billy Fraser. Fraser actually, I thought I was going to say, was it a drive-through? But no. Hayes heading down to his Cape Motorsports teammates and his crew. Here's the fight here between Jorge Garcia and Danny Nizelski, the 2 team members at J. Howard Driver Development. They currently run 14th and 15th. There's Jacob Douglas right behind him. And right there in the white car further back is the leader. 25 laps in, and Michael D'Orlando is getting ready to close up on the tail end of the field. This is where D'Orlando has to go to work, and where Bajoy Garg could potentially make things happen. Garg in the D-Force Racing Machine will try to capitalize on any mistakes made by D'Orlando dealing with lap traffic. D'Orlando closing right up here now on Jacob Douglas in the exclusive Autosport number 90. He'll go to the low side, thinking about it, gonna get a run down the back straightaway. Behind these 2 drivers you're seeing here, Garcias, there it is right there. This is the tail of the lead group. And this is the first driver to go down a lap as Michael D'Orlando goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Jacob Douglas gonna hold his line on top. Great job for Jacob, first-year driver in the series. And there's that first pass being done. Good pick set there by D'Orlando. Garg's got to get by quickly. Michael D'Orlando will try to stretch away here. Jacob Douglas holding that top line. Maybe a half a length down, half a width down. Doesn't want to quite run to the top side. Not super comfortable with the race car. Garg now goes to the bottom. He's trying to get by and gets the job done. So the minute you start getting up on some slower traffic in front of you, you're going to lose that air on the front wing. You're not going to get a responsive turn in. It's going to be just a little bit pushy into the corner. Garg still not able to get that pass done. He's side by side with Douglas, who is holding his line cleanly. Great job by Jacob Douglas. Miles Rowe closing up with the 22 as well. As D'Orlando now lining up Danny Nizelski. Great experience for everybody involved in this race, but huge for the drivers getting a chance to kind of work their way through lap traffic here. It is not easy on this racetrack. You really got to commit to the bottom line. I said earlier at the top of the show, Nizelski with a bit of a overcorrection there as I think maybe got caught out a little bit by D'Orlando kind of rolling back up to the top line. Now it's time for Garcias. That is the 4 of D'Orlando and the number 9 of Jorge Garcias, the Mexican for J. Howard Driver Development. And Bajoy Garg is right there. Oh, dial this one up. Just coming to the halfway point. Just a little ways away. 75 lap event. And Garg trying to get by Garcias. This is going to allow D'Orlando to pull away a little bit here. He dives it down to the bottom. You got to watch when you do that because the car's going to want to rotate. Good run here for Garg, but here comes Miles Rowe in the Pabst Racing 22. Rowe comes in just 5 points behind Jagger Jones. 4 drivers within 5 points at the top of USF 2000. That's how close this championship is. Rowe, big run down the back chute. He'll go to the bottom of the racetrack as well. Garcias will hold on top. Again, relying on your spotters to work together to let them know that you're coming through. Clears them on the exit of turn number 4. It's a busy day for these young drivers, anywhere from 14 to 19 years of age, 19, 20 years of age. All trying to follow in the footsteps of Kyle Kirkwood, Oliver Askew, Christian Rasmussen, who've won those championships moving up. Trey Burke, the next driver on the lead lap. 13 drivers still in the lead lap as we're just coming to the halfway point now. 36 laps down, 37 to go. Back through 3 and 4. All in all, textbook race out of Michael D'Orlando up front. Everything you'd want out of a driver starting on pole. Get out, a little bit of a clean run, push hard early, build a gap, manage the tires, be decisive. You're trying to overtake those lap cars further back. Jace Denmark and Jagger Jones now working their way by Garcias and Gazelski. Still some pretty hectic work to be done by those drivers in the top 10. They're going to work through those at the tail of the grid. Trey Burke up next, I believe, for Michael D'Orlando, who puts lap 39 in the books here now. Blue flag, of course, being displayed at start-finish. I chatted quite a bit with Michael D'Orlando before the race here, as he was a guest of Kevin Lee on the Trackside Show as we had the fundraiser for Homes for Our Troops at 5:30 this afternoon down outside the grandstands. And Michael had a chance to talk to Kevin and myself just about how important this race is for him. He just knows he's starting from the pole, knows he's got a good place to go. He'll go down to the bottom now of the 63 of Trey Burke, and Trey getting off a little bit there mid-corner. Really nicely done by Trey Burke. No need to fight it out. He'll tuck back in. He's got enough of a gap that he can let these guys go. Guard gets through cleanly, though, still only a half a second. The one thing you'd ask a leader to do, and this is no slight on D'Orlando, is, hey, if you're trying to get through lap traffic, be the better guy to do it and get through more cleanly. That said, once you lap a driver, he doesn't put up quite as much of a fight for the guy behind you, right? He's trying to stay on the lead lap. I stay on the lead lap. We might get a yellow. Keep fighting. Well, the minute you go a lap down and that second place driver comes up, you're not going to fight quite as hard because you're already a lap down. Yeah, I got to hold on. I got to take care of the race car. So probably a little bit easier to pass for the 12 of Guard, the 22 of Rowe, and then Denmark and Jones, the drivers who they're going by later, already down that lap. So the fight will always continue. Billy Fraser still scrapping it out with Spike Kohlbecker for 8th. That's awesome. In fact, Billy Fraser side by side with him coming out of turn 2 now. Here's Guard. Here's the Rowe to the inside of the 63 of Trey Burke as well. Trey Burke. Rowe now sliding by. We got some good racing side by side further back. The 10 of Thomas DeVoe trying to get by Garcias. Billy Fraser keeps fighting. Oh, Fraser high coming out of turn number 2. Loses a bit of it there. He may lose a spot. I think Billy Fraser's going to lose one to Dylan Christie. No, Fraser's still on the top side. Fraser on the top side here now. Spike Kohlbecker almost tosses it away as he's trying to get by Jacob Douglas. Yeah, let's stay with this shot here. This is some drivers trying to go put him a lap down. Fraser to the top side, had some trouble in 2. A lap ago, got up high into the marbles. Dylan Christie not quite able to capitalize. The 92 still running the top. He go back to the bottom and try to pull some of that air away. Fraser up behind his teammate Jacob Douglas. Can he capitalize? Potentially use a pick from his teammate to slide by. That's the fight right now for 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. This is 7th place runner Simon Sykes trying to get by Jorge Garcias and Danny Dzelski. Really striking livery on the car for Simon Sykes, a Legacy Autosport metalloid machine. And again, that is Kohlbecker to the bottom of Jacob Douglas, who does not want to give it up. Douglas running the high side. Let's see if Fraser's able to get a run here. Douglas still on top. Fraser's going to go to the bottom. You got to expect the teammate will give him a little help coming through here. Fraser quick hands. That car got lots of ugly on the outside coming out of turn number 4 for Billy Fraser. He's trying to keep the car on the bottom. When you're pinched down and you got a lot of wheel on it, you're really kind of getting it down to the inside. That rear can step out. You better have quick hands. Kohlbecker doing a tremendous job in 8th. Where he started, that's where he's running. A lot of these drivers kind of running where they started. 49 laps down. The Joy Guard continues to chase. So there's the 2 exclusive Autosport cars. Good run for Billy Fraser. Solid experience getting laid down here for Jacob Douglas. Fraser, though, he's trying to go by one of the lap cars as well. He's going to go to the bottom. Again, that's those drivers trying to get by Jorge Garcias in the number 9 Jay Howard driver development machine. Fraser's had lots to do. Started 9th, runs 9th. A lot more work than he expected, I think, for running P9. He gets through cleanly there. Down the back straightaway. And onto the front chute now come our leaders, Michael D'Orlando, the Joy Guard. In the middle of them is the 5 of Nicky Hayes, who's gone back onto the racetrack. He's essentially slotted into the P3 spot on the racetrack between 2nd and 3rd. Garg and Miles Rowe. There's 1st and 2nd. 23 laps remain. About 7 minutes of racing, maybe 8. The Joy Garg, career run for the driver out of California. Lives now in Atherton, California, in the D-Force Racing Machine. Garg, really impressive here this weekend, leading his D-Force squad, running P2. Teammate Thomas DeVoe in the 6th position, Dylan Christie in 10th. All 3 of the D-Force cars in the top 10. Garg closing up a little bit here. Yeah, but Joy Garg's cutting it down. It was 4/10 of a second last time by. Call it .396. But Joy Garg chipping away at it as he saved the tires for the final push. 20 laps to go. 20 laps remaining. Indy Pro 2000 will roll out for their 90-lap after this. And we got ourselves a battle for the lead now as Garg closes up to within .386, another 100. I'm going to save 6 car lengths potentially down the back straightaway. There's D'Orlando cooling the tires a little bit here. Live coverage of the Freedom 75 here on Road to Indy TV, Lucas Oil, Indianapolis Raceway Park, 5/8 mile banked oval here, part of the Carb Night Classic. Just 2 days ahead of the Indianapolis 500. USF 2000 Indy Pro, USAC Midgets and Silver Crown on the docket for the evening. A little late on the start as we had some precipitation come through the area. We knew it was coming. We're thrilled to be on the racetrack here and presenting the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series for you. My name is Rob Howden, the voice of the Road to Indy. Looking forward to the Indy Pro 2000 races coming up here as well. The Orlando stretching out a little bit more on that last lap. Joy Guard keeps digging. Miles Rowe third, just 1.7 seconds separate your top three. Rowe wants to see Guard engage. Get in there, start battling, get to the bottom of the racetrack, try to make that pass. You guys go side by side, I'm coming in. So no one's ever accused Miles Rowe of being too timid. There's an opening, an opportunity Miles Rowe's going for. This guy wants to win every race he gets into the race car with. So look for him to challenge if they do start battling. Chase Denmark runs in fourth, Jagger Jones fifth, Thomas DeVoe sixth, seventh is Simon Sykes, eighth Spike Kohlbecker ahead of Billy Fraser, 10th is Dylan Christie, 11th Christian Weir, 12th Jackson Lee, 13th Trey Burke, 14th Danny Dzelski, 15th Jorge Garcia, 16th Jacob Douglas, and 17th Nicky Hayes back on pit lane as they try to decide on what the issue is with that machine. Dylan Christie now trying to get by Garcias and Dzelski, able to find it clear. So he's well back. That's going to give Billy Fraser an opportunity to focus forward here again, as he is still not done with Spike Kohlbecker. 13 laps to go, lap 62 in the books. And in fact, they're all right there now. Sykes, Kohlbecker, and Fraser run a nose to tail, and Fraser's back down to the bottom. Down the back straightaway, Fraser making the move into turn number 3. That's the fight right now. That's the best battle we've seen on the racetrack here. Sykes, Kohlbecker, there they are coming down the front straightaway. Kohlbecker going to the bottom, looking to try to get by Simon Sykes. We'll keep an eye on the leaders, but right now that's the best fight. And another issue for Fraser as he chases the car up the track at turn 2 and has lost quite a bit of ground. He'll have to dig that back in as Kohlbecker going to the bottom now. Can Kohlbecker find a way by Simon Sykes? Billy Fraser's got to bring it back in here. He's had a couple of moments up in turn number 2 where he's had to catch it. It's got away from him mid-corner and chased the car up the racetrack a little bit. You got to back out of the throttle and pedal it a little before you roll back in. Such a unique discipline to be able to be fast on an oval like this. And I'll tell you, Spike Kohlbecker going to work on Simon Sykes. A couple of second-year drivers. First full season, I think, for Simon Sykes. He's never been able to put together a full season budget. We hope to see him for the entire program. He's in a great fight right now. Here comes Billy Fraser back up, and he's going to the high side. Fraser trying the high side around. Oh, they're side by side coming across the line. Fraser to the top. Billy Fraser snuck around the top side, and can he get the job done down the back? He would very likely have a better run. Bottom is tough. Fraser going to the top. No quit in this young Kiwi. What a fight here. 8 to go. And it's Fraser up top. He's going to try to get by, and he does almost. A little bit of contact there. And Billy Fraser gets it done. Fraser to the top side. Can he go to work now on Simon Sykes? That was a strong pass for Fraser to the top of the racetrack. 7 laps to go. The gap still over 0.3 of a second between first and second. But look at this. Fraser's closing up on Simon Sykes now. Sykes trying to get by Danny Dzelski and Jorge Garcias, but Fraser still using that top side. Back to the leaders as there's only 7 laps remaining. 7 laps to go. Back to the leaders here now. 7 laps goes by in an instant. About 2.5 minutes, and we'll call this one done. Can Joy Guard get the job done here? 5 to go this time by. Guard looking to the bottom. Look at the back there. That's that creeping black number 22 of Miles Rowe. The Pabst racing car getting closer. Guard going to the bottom. It's a length. This race is coming to a head here right now. Joy Guard. Can he find a way by? Guard to the bottom again. He's making a bid for it. Joy Guard to the bottom. How much Cooper tire does he have left? And Miles Rowe ringing his fist saying, let's go. He needs them side by side. Miles Rowe trying to come in. Just 0.7 of a second. Separate your top 3. What a race. The Orlando pulling a bit here. Guard cooling the tires off. Get a little more air on those front wings. Here comes Rowe. creeping up into the fight. 3 young Americans ready to battle it out for the win in the Freedom 75. D'Orlando trying to go back-to-back. Won last year for Cape Motorsports en route to second in the championship. Can he get it done? 3 to go this time by. It'll be 2 to go when they come back around. 2 laps remaining. Rowe trying to dig in over the last couple of laps. Garg thinking about his first career road to Indy victory. Can he get it done here at Indianapolis Raceway Park? Man, we've seen some great battling throughout this entire race, but it's going to come down to a head. What does Garg have? D'Orlando running very strongly up top. Garg's going to throw it to the bottom, see if he can't force an issue. White flag flying. Final lap of the Freedom 75. They'll work their way through 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway. Garg not close enough. Is Rowe close enough to take a shot at him? He is not. D'Orlando's going to do this one uncontested. Flag to flag. For Cape Motorsports, the winner of the Freedom 75, Michael D'Orlando. 0.2 of a second, the margin of victory. A flag to flag run. Billy Fraser trying to go to the top side. Does he get him in the line? He does. Billy Fraser. Fraser outguns Sykes for 7th at the line. Fraser went to the top side again. What a drive for Billy Fraser as he goes to P7. Fraser running the top side around Simon Sykes. What a drive. Michael D'Orlando back-to-back jacks here, the Freedom 75, defending his race win for last year. Green to checker for USF 2000. These are talented young drivers who just went 75 laps side by side throughout the entire field, and it's a 0.2 of a second win for Michael D'Orlando for Cape Motorsports. Big win for him on the Focus project management machine. D'Orlando will be thrilled with this one. He needed it. Has not got a win yet this year. He's had a number of drivers scored in victories like Jagger Jones and Miles Rowe and Jace Denmark. He needed a win, and you're going to see the celebration fitting that kind of relief. Bejoy Garg, best career finish in USF 2000, second. Miles Rowe ends up in third. Here's Michael D'Orlando. He's going on the bars. He's 6'3", ladies and gentlemen. How does he get in there? He's a winner. Little heel click. Michael D'Orlando, big win as the team will meet him. Brendan Puderbach, one of his mechanics there. All right, folks, we're ready to go here with the podium presentation. I think we have all our drivers here. Let's get things underway, starting with the driver, folks, for Pabst Racing coming home. Third place today, a round of applause for number 22, Miles Rowe. And to present Miles with his trophy, again, one of our guests here on the weekend, Jamie Brinkley. Thank you, Jamie. Miles Rowe, 2 times a winner this year already. Pabst Racing, definitely a championship contender. Let's grab the driver finishing in second. What a run. His career best finish on the road to Indy, finishing in second spot for D-Force Racing. Number 12, Bejoy Garg. And to present Bejoy with his second place hardware, Gordon Chapman. Bejoy chased the leader all race long. Made a fight at it later, but wasn't quite able to get it done in the final circuit. Let's get the guy, though, folks, back-to-back wins here in the Freedom 75. That Winnie that eluded him this year. For Cape Motorsports, the winner, our first victor on the day, Michael D'Orlando. And our trophy presenter for P1, Alan Browning. A number of our guests as part of Kevin and Jackson Lee's program here today. Great to have, again, we had Dr. Kelvin Lee from the IU Simon Comprehensive Cancer Center joining us for the call to fire. Top 3 drivers in USF 2000. Every one of these drivers trying to follow in the footsteps of Kyle Kirkwood and Pato Award and Renus VK. All those drivers that have worked their way out of this road to Indy and into the NTT IndyCar Series. 3 talented young Americans starting the night off. going to be a fun one for sure. Yeah, they're ready for the celebration now, I can guarantee you that. It's been a long day, a long couple of days for these guys. All of us, of course. There's the champagne. We're not racing for 2 weeks. Those suits can go to the dry cleaner, or at least into the wash, whatever it may be. Ooh. Champagne down the back. That can't be good. So much great racing for you. A very diverse, of course, lineup of cars. The USAC midgets and Silver Crown cars. Love watching those guys hustle around this 5/8 mile track.